Hello, fellow geeks. My name is Geek Lactus, and we're here with the segment called the Inner Geek by Withasideofgeek. We're here with Matt and Aaron today at 88.3 KAXL's afternoon.
Joyride!
How are you fellas doing today?
Great. Excellent.
Okay, I have some questions for you that every single geek has to answer.
Oh.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Marvel. Why?
Man, why do you gotta ask hard questions like that? I think because I love the Hulk, mostly.
Okay.
I almost want to say what iteration, because I love the animated series of Batman, Superman, the whole Justice League cartoons, and the DC cartoons. But when it comes to, like, I've always had a passion for Spider-Man and Captain America, so...
Okay.
Can I do both?
You could do both. I mean...
But you need a specific...
To that end, Marvel used to be amazing with their cartoons until they decided to flush it all and give us the crappy shows that they have now.
Pretty much, yeah. So if we're going animation, DC, if we're going for all around for comics, Marvel.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
This isn't even a question.
And I know you're a big Star Wars fan, so it's like...
ridiculous.
But we're trying to get Aaron's... we need Aaron's answer as well, so...
All right, I will tell you. Star Trek.
Oh!
More Star Trek. Although I own everything Star Wars, I love Star Trek. It's great. Hey, Star Trek, I mean, you can make a show about a space station that goes nowhere. I mean, you know it's good.
I will say this, though. As a big Star Wars fan, I used to be the guy that hated on Star Trek a lot back in the day. I still have a strong appreciation now for Star Trek, especially with the new films and even the old shows as I've gone back to them. But, all that said, there's still no comparison.
All right. And the next question is, who's your favorite superhero?
It's the Hulk.
Hulk?
I love the Hulk. I don't know. There's just something about how it's like you give him bigger and bigger challenges, bigger things that he faces. Doesn't really matter. He's the Hulk. You know, whether that's like beating the newest enemy or pulling like halves of a planet together, you know, to save the entire thing. It's just like there's no stopping him. Strongest there is.
For you geeks out there, I'd say Condor Man, but I don't know how many people saw that movie. Condor Man! I'd probably... it's Captain America. It's Captain America.
A strong number 2, Deadpool. Yes.
Along with that question, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Not this one.
Flying, so I could be one with the weather. There it is.
There you go.
Man, is this not the question we have toiled with since we were geek kids?
Yes.
I don't know. I will go in between, back and forth, usually between invisibility and flight.
Okay, so I know that in July you guys recently went to San Diego Comic-Con. How was your guys' experience there?
Short. And not the greatest sleeping arrangements.
Matt and I had to share a bed, and it was in an old folks' home. Because that's the only place I could find free living.
He's being literal. That's not.
I'm not joking. And it was in the suite of the old folks' home that we had to stay in. And there was one bed, and the bed wasn't like a queen size bed or single size bed. It was a really tight bed.
Well, that was not.
So aside
great.
from the sleeping arrangements,
so you want to? Yeah.
I mean, is this
Sorry,
your
did
first?
we make this awkward?
This is my first trip.
Your first trip?
My first trip. I was there for Doctor Who's 50th anniversary big special, and I couldn't get into the line. I was not able to do it, but I did have a chance to Catwoman kissed me on the cheek.
Okay.
On this trip, like the real Catwoman from the 1960s show. So she was a lot older. The Toy Hunter. If you ever watched Travel Channel's Toy Hunter,
it's on my DVR too.
Got to hang out with him.
And we both met.
That was really cool.
The sensei from Karate Kid.
Yeah.
We only made it for the one day though. I've been there the last 4 years, and this was just kind of a last minute deal to get in there. So I didn't even go to a whole lot.
All right. So since there's a lot of cosplay that goes on at these cons,
sure.
Who would you go cosplayed as? What character?
I want to cosplay Jedi Casey Jones. So Casey Jones from Turtles, right back here, lightsabers.
That is so cool. I never thought about that one.
Yeah.
I would like to do Doctor Who, but be all 12 Doctors. Dress up in all iterations of Doctor. So a long scarf, one with a Stetson, one with just random stuff.
Bow tie?
Bow tie. Oh, bow tie. Yeah, that was my Stetson one. But yeah, the exact idea.
Getting a little bit more serious. How was it growing up for you guys in society?
Well, I think it's made even worse when you're the introverted kid who's the introvert that, reads comic books and will still sit and watch cartoons, and you're in junior high. Like, you can't, that's not something that can ever be found out. So, I mean, it was half that, but it was also half, I think, just my personality. I was just the nerdy kid. I wasn't the outgoing kid, so I was an easy target. So, how was it? It wasn't fun for me, especially the junior high years. I later went to a Christian high school and kind of fell into my geeky clique, crowd there. And that really, it makes all the difference when you have your group of people to support you and to share that common interest. But when you're forging that way on your own and you're just the dork and you're wearing Bugle Boy t-shirts because that's all you could afford from Goodwill, those are not the best of my days.
I didn't have that problem. Growing up in Phoenix, for some reason, in my school, like, you could wear whatever, you could be the geek, and it was supported. My twin brother and I always wore the same Ninja Turtle shirts all the time, and didn't have a problem. As a young kid, the greatest American hero was like the whole reason I got into geekhood. Trying to be the fly, but you couldn't fly, and you'd act that out on recess, and nobody had a problem with that. Like, you were the cool kid.
What's your take on being a geek and a believer? I know that recently, I think it was last week, you guys had, we're talking about a billboard that some Christian organization put up, and it was directed towards atheists.
Right. Yeah.
And we know that a lot of atheists and a lot of people who are non-believers are geeks. And they love comic books just like you and I, and we love Star Wars and so forth and so forth. So, I mean, what's your take on being a geek and a believer? Because a lot of people tend to draw a line between both.
Well, it's funny, you can't really draw a line between both, because if you're a big geek, then you're going to like Superman. Just the story of Superman and what it stands for. That is the story of Christ. The only difference is that this person's real. And when he's saving the world, he did save the world when he died on the cross for you. So all you have to do is just take a step further in that belief in that comic book and realize, hey, this is a real story about Christ. And I mean, that's the real superhero. When you can already grasp the fantasy, grasp how that's real. I mean, it's great. And then what you have that connection then with the geek. If you really get that, I mean, that's how I see it.
Yeah, and I mean, with how you ask it as compared to, maybe the geeks that are atheists or whatever, I think it doesn't matter what it is. If we're talking geek stuff, superheroes, comics, or we're talking sports, or we're talking anything that you're into, everybody's got their passion, and their lives and their beliefs are shaped by a lot of things, their upbringing and all this stuff that influences that. And so, I mean, it's in balance in everything when we're focusing just on what we're really into. So if we're into geeky stuff, great. One of my best friends is, I mean, same thing. We do podcasts and stuff talking Star Wars and Ninja Turtles and
Geek Sentinel.
Geek Sentinel. And but man, he's not a Christian at all. He used to be. He fell away from faith. And but one of the cool things that I have there is, like, he knows what I believe very well, and I don't compromise that for the sake of what we do or the stuff that I do with him. But that puts me in a position right now where I'm really one of the only Christians that he will listen to and that he'll respect. We have these shared interests and all these other things. I don't ever preach at him. I don't ever call, he doesn't follow that same moral maybe compass or the same ethics that I have. And I don't expect him to, because he doesn't believe it. So the Bible to him is not an absolute authority. So the best I can do is love him, and we're just friends, and be the best example of that, be the best example of Christ I can that way.
It's really cool, and it's great too. There's going to be a big push in geekdom real soon. The Darren Aronofsky movie Noah that's coming out is based off his comic book. It's based off his comic book about Noah. In his comic book, rock monsters build the ark, not Noah. And there's a lot of other differences in it. But through this movie, there's going to be a lot of this hatred going back and forth. Oh, geeks and Christ and this. But this is where a chance we're coming up in the future. Hey, Christians, stand up and just be loving towards those people and encourage them. Hey, look, maybe this comic isn't the story, but
Yeah, I think that's exactly
more-
right. I don't know if we're derailing it too far for
Sorry,
you,
yeah.
but those two things, standing up, but doing it in love.
In
Because
love.
you mentioned those billboards. The billboards that went up that said something along the lines of, attention atheists, thank God you're wrong. It's trolling. I mean, it's since who is going to see that? When is the last time you saw a political sticker on someone's car? You know, say you're a Republican, you see a Democratic sticker that's one of those punchy type phrases, and you said, "Oh, they're right." You know, that's ridiculous. Of course not. It's the relationship and the way that we treat people.
What defines you as a geek?
well, my wife will tell you it's because I'm watching too much cartoons at the age of 34. When your DVR is full of Ninja Turtles, Beware of the Batman, Transformers, which the series finale was amazing. Yeah, I'm a geek.
Yeah, if we're gauging along those lines, then mine would largely be from, anytime I work overtime or I feel like I need to reward myself, action figure aisle. Boom, there it is.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
I go down there, but I'll stare at the aisle in the toy section for an hour and convince myself after that hour I looked enough that I don't need to buy anything. I'm saving money.
My Instagram stream, I don't take pictures of my family or of anything else. I'm not joking you. The
True.
only ones there
Mhm.
are pictures of action figures.
Especially like the one with your, what is it, your rank?
The Rancor,
Rancor.
one of my
Oh.
all-time favorites. Yep.
What kind of advice would you guys have for our geek believers out there?
I guess just find balance in what you do. It's real easy to get caught up, I think. Like for me, like Star Wars is my number one go-to, and so sometimes I have to stop and challenge myself. I'll get all fired up about whatever it may be, from the Disney acquisition or film rumors and stuff like that. To have to back away a little bit, and it's not wrong to get excited because, well, there's the whole thing about art and how we are made, I think, as artists because of our creator. But to find that balance where I can step back and ask myself, all right, this is all good and well, but how much time have I spent in the Word? Or, am I getting so caught up thinking about and following the trends and the rumors and what's going on with Michael Bay's stupid turtle movie and stuff like that? It's like, am I offering this much time or money for that matter? If I'm going and buying toys or Blu-rays, am I keeping a healthy balance in my spiritual life? Like, where are my thoughts supposed to be centered? This is all great, but make sure that's not what's running my life. That's not where my main excitement and so forth comes from.
I gotta just reiterate that. I mean, make sure being a geek's great. I mean, live that life. I mean, that's what you like. That's God gave us loves and things that we like to do, but make it your hobby, not your life. Like Christ should be your life. And if it's not your life, then it's time to reevaluate.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This has been a segment of Inner Geek by Withasideofgeek, and we want to thank our partners, Martidia.com, for all of our media support. And we also want to thank Matt and Aaron from the afternoon.
Joyride!
Thank you, fellas, yet again. Don't forget, for your up-to-date geek news, look us up at www.withasideofgeek.com, and also look at our Facebook page, our Instagram, and our Twitter. I am Geek Lactus, and from us geeks here to you geeks out there, help us take over the world one geek at a time. Stay geeky.